preschool's version of the Nutcracker, which might be a little different than maybe what you're used to, but it will be fun. They have been practicing so much, and I'm really proud of them. They're having fun. Before we get started with our show, we have a little special little Christmas wreath by the 3-Day Kids that can go home with Archer. So, end of the day. Make sure you grab that. Just something special we put together, always fun. And now, we shall begin the show. All right, here we go, kids. Sorry. All right, kids, you ready? Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was a prince who lived in a castle. And the prince had a problem, a big, big problem. Kids, what was the problem? The mice. The castle was overrun by pesky mice. And they were very mischievous, and they would come out at night, and they would nibble on all the furniture, and they would nibble on all the food that the prince had in the castle, and they were very, very sneaky mice. Mice, are you ready? Come on out, mice. And the prince was angry and would say, "Stop it, mice." Say, "Stop it, mice! Stop it, mice!" Oh, the prince was so mad. Those pesky mice, they just nibble on Finally, the prince got so angry that he called for his 10 soldiers to gather up the mice, and the prince yelled, "10 soldiers, come help!"
10 soldiers.
And as 10 soldiers came out, get those mice into cages, kids! All right, mice! Watch out! We have one last mouse to get. All right. Thank you, 10 soldiers. You can sit down. Now, the prince. The prince took care of those mice, but there was somebody else. There was a mouse king. And the mouse king, who ruled over all the mice, came up to the prince and said, "You shouldn't have done that."
You shouldn't have done that.
And he cast a spell, and he turned the prince into a nutcracker. And away he went. Fortunately for the prince, there was a toy maker in town who was also a wizard, who was also an uncle. And up came the wizard. Oh, where's the wizard? And the wizard came over so that everyone can take pictures. And the wizard sprinkled some magic dust and said some magic words like abracadabra. And he took the nutcracker and that there was only one thing that could save the prince from being a nutcracker forever. Kids, what did the nutcracker have to feel?
Break the spell.
Love to break the spell. The nutcracker had to feel love, and then he would turn back into a prince. Now, the following night, there were two sisters who were dressed in their best elegant clothes. There were two sisters, and they were having a very elegant, grand Christmas party. And their uncle, who was the toy maker wizard, brought Clara a gift. And he handed it to her and said, "This is for you." And Clara said, "Thank you." Now, there was a very, very jealous little sister. And she was so jealous that Clara got this gift, and she said, "That's ugly." And she took the nutcracker out of Clara's hand, and she threw it across the room. And the nutcracker fell and broke. No, you didn't say it. And the nutcracker fell and broke. And Clara ran over to the nutcracker and said, "You're not ugly. I'm so happy I have you." And that night, Clara fell asleep. She fell asleep, holding the nutcracker in her arms. And she dreamt she went to the land of sweets, where there were sugar plum fairies who were dancing so lovely. And those sugar plum fairies stood up with their wands, and they also invited Clara to dance with them. Clara, say, "Clara, come dance." Dance that way. Nutcracker's whereabouts, and he went to the land of sweets, and he said, "Give me back that nutcracker." And Clara clutched the nutcracker and said, "No." And Clara yelled, "Tin soldiers, come help!" And the Mouse King yelled, "Mice, come help!"
Mice, come help.
And there was a great duel. And the mice are scratching. And the soldiers are Sage just And the Mouse King kept chasing. Mouse King was chasing Clara. Clara was running away from Mouse King. Mouse King was relentless. And Clara kept saying, "No, you can't have him." Finally, Clara didn't know what to do. And so she took off her shoe. And she threw it at the Mouse King's head, and the Mouse King fell over. And the Mouse King was defeated. And the mice dragged off their leader. We'll just wait for them to figure it out. holding on to her Nutcracker protectively, and she said, "Nutcracker, I love you." And now that the Nutcracker feels the love, he turned back into a prince. Ta-da! And he said, "Stand up, Clara. Thank you. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for loving me." And Clara said, "You're welcome." And the prince said, "Let's go back to the land of sweets." Let's go back. And together, Clara and the prince went back to the land of sweets, where all the children danced and had a grand finale. Kids, stand on up. This is the grand finale we've all been waiting for. Dance, kids, dance. Woo! For a few months of school. Your children are